First, you must realize that you have no idea before you can know the idea. We scan across all the frequencies if we want to learn anything new. Let us begin.
What has physics done for me lately?
Furthermore, the equation E is equal mc squared.
We have now acquired a fateful power to alter and to destroy nature.
That's like when you're in physics and you go to Dreamworld saying, oh, this is a physics excursion.
Science. What is it all about?
The whole of human history all falls in the dust of one stroke of the nail file. You can't really get to grips with evolution unless you realise what an enormous amount of time.
Our own planet is only a tiny part of the vast cosmic tapestry, a starry fabric of worlds yet untold.
You're tuned into what can only be described as the best radio station on this blue dot we call Earth. It is, of course, 4ZZZ, your community radio broadcaster. Beat it on your conventional wireless radio by tuning into the classic frequency of 102.1 FM, digital devices such as DAB or smart speaker, listening via the Community Radio Plus app, or streaming us live from our sensational website at 4ZZZ.org.au. And of course, you can always listen back to our show or any 4ZZZ show using the ingenious on-demand feature, also found at that URL. We also now have a weekly podcast of the show for your listening pleasure, created by Toby, a condensed version of the show without the music, which my mum prefers. Just search for our show name, which is, of course, No Idea, spelt with a K, your weekly dose of science. And joining me for this episode to speak about all things science are two of my favourite science communicators. May I please welcome Peta.
You may. Hello.
And the soccer guru himself, Gabriel.
I can't call myself that anymore. I've fallen off my wagon. I've missed a couple of the games. Guru status has evaporated.
Has it? Okay.
Max, Nvidia's been in the news a lot. They've hit market cap of over $5 trillion, the most highly valued company in the world. If you're not aware, they're the ones making the chips that power many of your devices, but also now the chips that power the data centers that are powering the AI investment surge. But it's potentially not the highest market cap valuation of a company ever. I had a look into this, and there was this is highly disputed, I want to say, because how you calculate these stats lead to wildly different results. But I'm going to just go to one conference paper.
Did KPMG do this or what?
They may have. They published a conference proceeding, so not peer-reviewed, published in 2021, that restated the claim. There was one company back in the 17th century, the 1600s, was worth what would today be the equivalent of $7.9 trillion.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know any ideas what it was?
Yeah, that's the freight company, the Indian Pacific, or whatever they're called.
Dutch East India Company, or VOC.
Yeah, they're the biggest company ever.
During its period of dominance in those 1600s, it lost 75 vessels to shipwrecks and another 23 to capture by enemy forces and pirates, which sounds like a lot until I then looked into how many ships they actually built. Do you want to take a guess at how many
706
ships? That's it,
vessels.
Max. 706 ships were built by the VOC, or Dutch East India Company, through the 17th century, which is a huge amount of production. There was some research, actually, of a shipwreck in WA Shipwrecks Museum in Fremantle, which I've been to. It's very cool, which found one of the ways they managed such an impressive feat is by diversifying out of oak, which had been dominating the shipbuilding and across Europe, and was they moved into other woods and were very selective, though. This research tracked specific pockets of Europe that they went to for woods. They were very selective about which woods they used, even though they were able to diversify out of oak. But yes, Max, 706 ships, and it just happens to be our 706th show. What do you got coming up, Peter?
I've got a couple of different things. I'm going to be talking about some sweaty fish later on, but soon I'm going to be talking about placebo.
Max?
Hang on. I'm doing novel placebo as well.
Well,
It's been a while since we've clashed on the show. Let's see if they have actually come together with the same story. I've got some stuff that I'm certain that no one would have stolen from me. There's been an update in the cyborg insect research field.
Right, backpacks.
So I've got
More backpacks.
So I've got that, and I'm going to finally get into. We had to delay it because of bird flu last week, but we're going to finally get into the QS rankings. Who's come out on top for 2027 rankings, and some mix-ups in the if we exclude the rest of the world and just make the Australian QS rankings.
That's right.
Some mix-ups in our top list.
Yeah,
too.
it has. Yeah. Sorry, Melbourne. Is there only one guitar tuner in Melbourne? Because all the Melbourne bands sound exactly like that with that guitar.
Coming out swinging, Max. Far out.
How good was that? I wonder what Jordan thought it was. Any good, Jordan?
It was really good.
Thanks, Jordan. I just saw Jordan in the window.
It's really helpful.
Well, we haven't got.
What did Jordan think of the France-Sweden match?
It was really good.
Oh, really? That's cool.
So good.
Because we haven't got easy this week. I needed another.
You need some positivity to bounce off. With us in the room.
Okay. Let's do this. Okay. You should tune into 477. It's no idea with me, Max, in brackets.
Who has no idea?
Jordan, Gabe, and Peta. We're going to Peta.
I have what you have, which is
Yes.
placebo.
Yes.
So I was going to ask you, but I think I'm going to ask Gabe instead. Do you believe in the power of manifestation?
I believe in the power of convincing our feeble brains of things that maybe aren't true.
Yeah.
I feel like there is some truth in just sort of forcing your brain onto a different track.
Well, okay, so that's not exactly what placebo is. You may think that's what it is. And I guess it's
Ask
maybe
me
the start.
manifestation.
That's true. But you knew we were talking about placebo, and that's what
I
you
fully believe in placebo. I love a bit of placebo.
Everyone loves a bit of
Pop
placebo.
a sugar pill and watch that pain go away.
So do you know when it started?
When placebo started.
When we started doing placebos? Because I didn't. I had to look this up.
When, you mean deliberately giving people placebos?
Deliberately.
Yeah.
Because you
Not
can go
but
through
by mistake. That was a long time ago.
history of historical and cultural and alternative medicines and find a whole lot of placebo in there amongst real stuff. But real placebo effect being looked at, I'm going to say 1940s.
That's sort of what I had in my head. It was actually the first recorded instance of this happening was in the 1700s.
There you go.
There's a Scottish guy and an English guy. And essentially, they literally wrote in their notes, I was sick of hearing their patients complain, and it was more for their mind than for their body. So they were just sort of like, they clearly think something's wrong. I don't think something's wrong. Here's something. And then they noted the effects. Notably at the time, they didn't give them nothing. They just gave them a very, very weak medicine that they knew wouldn't do anything. But that is the start of placebo. That's where the term came from. So
is that placebo or is that customer service?
Isn't all
is
placebo
that
customer
really
service?
placebo? Or is that just, the customer's always right, so I'll sell them some rubbish just so they leave me alone.
It wasn't sold, was given.
Given.
The big difference there. So there's no that's just called scamming someone if you sold it to them. There's a word for that. But placebo and nocebo effects are psychobiological phenomena where your health conditions can improve or worsen due to your personal expectations, mindsets, and self-perception rather than, a pharmacological effect of a treatment. Now, usually, they've been done by deceptive means, so sugar pills or saline injections. The idea is that the patient must wholeheartedly believe they are receiving the treatment.
Yes.
Because your mind expects something to happen, your body expects something to happen, it happens, which the idea was always that it requires deception. But recently, seems not to be the case. So there have been a couple of studies now that have shown that placebos remain effective when patients are told they are placebos. You are given a pill, told this has nothing in it, take it anyway and see what happens. And it still happens. And the question here is, are you even expecting something to happen? Where is it the thing of expectation? What's going on here? And it's been shown to affect a wide range of things: psychology, cognitive performance, physical abilities, working memory, a bunch of things. So this comes to us from the Università Catalonia del Sacro Cuore
Sure.
in Italy,
I've
if you
always
couldn't
said
guess. What's the QS ranking? Gabe?
Max, do you want to have a guess?
I got
One, two, six.
I got the pronunciation here. Ready?
Oh, please, save me.
By an Italian, but you still won't get it. You ready?
Nell'Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore qui a Milano.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
I love that you're pre-preparing Liz now. Max is like, I've given up. Let me just get it recorded.
Yeah, I know.
Gabe,
I know what the QS ranking is.
I think 126.
It is, say it with me, Max. 388. And they wanted to see if placebos could help older people across, honestly, a big suite of life problems. Like, it was basically presenting them with a magic pill, cognitive, physical, memory. So they had 90, quote, older adults, which is 65 to
It should be
90.
noted it was blue in colour, though. So just joking.
Very helpful.
Just joking.
Not a regular. They were Italian. If that helps, they are Italian older people, which I heard is a specific flavour. And they had... One of the things that they had to have to be able to do this study was they had to be on no pills of any kind. No medication, no wellness, no nothing. And then they
So
had...
I'm eliminated even before the age comes in.
Yeah. Well, you also can't speak Italian, and that wasn't high up on the list.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really important. They split them into 3 groups. So number 1 was no treatment at all. Show up and get tested, I guess.
Yeah.
Second one was placebo pills that they were told were multivitamins that included active ingredients to improve well-being.
So that's the deception.
That's the deception. And then the third one were placebo pills they were told were placebos. But, and this is where I think it gets interesting, they were told that they may still have mind-body benefits. So they were given an expectation of results.
They planted the seed, yeah.
They planted something in there that was like, even though this has nothing in it, it may still work.
But they also had a nocebo in there as well, where people got nothing.
That's right.
Nocebo is not that.
Yeah.
Nocebo is when you have a negative effect from nothing.
Ah.
Placebo is when it's
Flat
positive.
control. There you go.
Yeah, nocebo is when they give you the placebo.
I want to
and
be
you
in
get
that
worse.
study, not.
Not a fun one. And so then they had 2 tests, one before and one after the 3 weeks. Number 1 was a questionnaire, asked about perceived stress, psychological well-being, sleepiness, optimism, self-efficacy, and stereotypes about aging, which I thought was quite funny to ask old people. And then there were objective tests, so things that they could actually measure on short-term memory, selective attention, and physical performance, which I thought gave me a giggle thinking about them putting old people through their paces, trying to see how physically active they are. Then, here's the big thing. Those who took the placebo pills and knew they were placebos had the largest effects. So it wasn't just that it had an effect, it was larger than those who didn't know it was a placebo.
Much larger?
Sometimes yes, sometimes
yeah.
no. But it was significant. So they had significantly lower stress levels and significant improvements in short-term memory, higher than those who did not know it was a placebo. Both unknown placebo and known placebo groups saw gains in physical and cognitive performance, but the strongest results were from the ones who knew that it was a placebo. So the physical performance increased by 7% in the deceptive group, but 9.2% in the open label group. Cognitive performance increased up to 14% for deceptive and up to 21.5% for known. So researchers also pointed out in their study that this is an improvement that is similar to genuine training. So if they had not been taking pills but instead had been practicing memory tests or practicing physicality tests, that's the level of improvement we would see in that time period. So the question here is, could placebo pills be handed out knowingly, making them effective and ethical? Because currently we don't really do placebos on mass scale because it's not ethical.
True.
Lie to your patients. Anything to add, Max?
Yes. You know what gives me a placebo effect?
What's that, Max?
This is Gabe. You just know Gabe's going to make one of his famous Long Island iced teas. Which results in a Pavlov response. That's all right. That was going to be my joke throughout the article, but that's all right.
What does that have to do with placebo? just a quick question on that one.
Well,
it's great.
Apparently the participants were walked through the idea of Pavlovian conditioning.
Oh.
Yeah, and Pavlov's dog learned to salivate at the sound
That's true.
of a bell. So the body can learn to respond to the ritual of taking a treatment like the sugar pill, even when you know the treatment is inert.
So the researchers were positing that placebo is Pavlov for pills.
Part of a placebo response is thought to come from the repeating of the ritual of, if it's at home, going and popping a pill and taking it, or going into a medical centre and doing a series of tests.
Well, this is what got me.
Triggers something. It's part of it. It's not just a pill. It's everything that goes with that.
Yeah, because for me, I was thinking, if I knew that I was going to be tested, if I did a test and then I knew I was going to have to take the same test in 3 weeks, even just subconsciously thinking about that for 3 weeks, you'd probably get better at it. But then I remembered that's why they have the control group. They were doing that, so that should have counted for that.
Exactly. And it's just like medication. When people are meant to stay on their medication, and if they receive an SMS every day just to remind them to take their medication, that then they find the uptake is way greater than just letting them just do their own thing type thing. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Okay. Oh, well. What did Jordan think about the weird science?
It's just weird.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Oh, that's great. I think what we're learning generally at the moment is a brain really isn't necessary for thought or learning. Like, I think we knew for a long time that you didn't need a brain to react. It does. Oh, my goodness, finally.
I can hear you. I can hear you gearing up for that.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a brain, so he has to make all that noise.
His arms and legs had to come to a committee agreement to make the joke. I feel so bad every time I hear that one. It's so mean out of context. Because we were talking about starfish and how...
Max plays these, just so you know. He picks them.
Yeah. You picked that, Max.
We said it once.
It says more about you than it does about us.
Well, what's Jordan think about it?
This is so good.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Blame Jordan.
You tune into 4ZZZ and the show is No Idea with me, Max, Jordan in brackets. We got Peta, we got Gabe, and we got part 2 of this. I can't even click. Hit us up, Gabe.
I have for you the latest development in what we are calling bugs. I think Peter came up with that last time we were on air. Cyborg insects. And it involves what some are calling, this particular research, a scuba suit for cockroaches. You ready?
Yep.
So we first talked about this almost a year ago to the day, 2nd of July, not the 1st, last year, because some UQ research came out, University of Queensland, about cyborg beetles, where they'd basically strapped in.
Yeah, that's right.
It's pretty brutal to the beetles. They fastened in electrodes into the beetles in a way that they can put a small electrical current through them, and that zaps them to turn left or right, depending on which side they do. If they put both at the same time, it urges them forward. Yeah. They were able to show they could do this. They were able to show, in this one particularly, they were able to drive them up objects by turning them into a vertical wall or a rock. Then earlier this year, only a month ago, we covered some Japanese research, which took it to another level to what they did at UQ.
Bigger backpacks.
Huge backpacks on cockroaches. They used light and vibration in their one to move them around rather than the electrical stimulus. And then they had monitoring devices strapped to them as well. So they were actually getting feedback from the cockroaches' biological system on how it was doing, and were able to back off and let it navigate through tricky stuff when it was in a pickle, in
distress of some kind,
in like environments that were too warm or something. And so they took it to another level, and so we can climb rocks with these cyborg insects. We can navigate mazes, and now they can breathe underwater. So this was published in the journal Nature Communications by researchers at Nanyang Technological University, Singapore, and Waseda University in Tokyo. QSs for both of those.
I'll take Waseda, you do Nanyang.
Nanyang, NTU, University.
128.
For Waseda, I'm doing 420.
NTU Singapore is the 10th highest ranked university in the world.
Oh, I know I've heard of it before.
For a couple of years.
Yeah.
And Waseda is 201.
I went too low.
They used Madagascar hissing cockroaches, so the same as that recent Japanese study.
The big ones.
They've got big size, they're very robust, like cockroaches are. They don't have any wings, so they're a sort of staple of the cyborg genre, if you're a follower. And then they had this approach to the underwater kit, which was like this soft shell that they attached to the bottom of them.
I think I saw this, and it kind of looked like a latex suit.
Yes, and it has in it a chemical oxygen generator. So yes, it looks the shape
so they
of
can
it.
breathe. Yeah, good.
Because they breathe through their skin, right? Or not skin,
through the
whatever.
pores, yeah.
So it looks a bit like the shape of a cuttlefish bone that you see on the beach.
Yeah.
That sort of shape, hollowed. So and
Stick a cockroach in
I think it's silicon, a resin, plastic-like resin. So it kind of see-through, a bit opaque, white cuttlefish bone shaped thing, and it just sort of slots over the back, the abdomen of the cockroach.
Yeah.
So it's just sitting on the back of it, and so this cockroach is sitting there with a circuit board looking thing on its back, and then this huge cuttlefish looking thing attached, fastened to its abdomen, to its butt, hanging off the back.
I think there's another thing that it looks like.
And then,
from memory that I can't really say on
it
air.
looks a bit like a contraception device.
It looks like a contraception device.
But it's rigid.
A rudimentary one.
Yes. And then there are 4 tubes very small tubes coming off the not contraception device and going up and plugging in higher up the cockroach. And when I say plugging in, I mean they've developed them to plug directly into the spiracles of the cockroach. So insects don't have lungs like us humans do to breathe. They have little holes around their body that feed directly into a system of air tubes and sacs throughout their body called the tracheal system. And they made these 4 tubes plug directly into 4 of those holes and fasten them in a bit with a bit of beeswax and adhesive and stuff. They basically just plugged it into their nose, a bit like when you go to the hospital, you get hooked up to the oxygen tubes in your nose, except I'm sure this was a little more brutal, so they plugged in there and could stay underwater. And then inside this backpack thing they had, this thing hanging off their back, they had
a lunch.
They had an oxygen supply. So it inside of it was a sponge deposited with manganese dioxide, which acts as a catalyst. And then to start the oxygen supply, they injected a small amount of diluted hydrogen peroxide, which was then sealed onto them. And so inside the manganese dioxide slowly breaks down the hydrogen peroxide and releases oxygen. That oxygen is then channeled through the tubes directly into the insects and allows them to breathe or get oxygen into their system underwater. So they're not actually in a full bubble or hamster wheel type situation. They just have this airtight thing stuck onto their abdomen behind them, and that's feeding oxygen straight in. And the rest of the front half of them is in the water, which is...
Can they swim?
Pretty amazing. No, not really.
Oh.
They walk. And they had to weigh them down. So they had this payload was 8.8 grams, and they had to add another 5. Yeah, they had to add another 5
dive
grams.
weights on them, but they can't swim.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't imagine it's super cool for the cockroach. I feel like this study should have also checked how stressed they
That's
were.
right.
Well, they did.
Oh,
so
okay.
they then they actually started by doing treadmill experiments to see and were measuring the oxygen
intake. Yeah, cool.
I think it was the oxygen either in the backpack or in the space around the cockroach, and they were measuring how long they could last with this added oxygen supply coming from this chemical generator that was strapped to them. And they found that they could last up to 3 hours, which was a lot longer than they could without the added oxygen supply. And so they then put them through a series of experiments, which includes... Like for the first one, the easiest one, they just put them in tanks underwater and then triggered them to move in certain directions, giving them a 3 to 4 volt pulse of electrical stimulation. Because what I didn't tell you is that these ones also had the electrical stimulus thing built into them.
Right.
And when I say built into them, I mean surgically implanted into them so that they remained watertight.
Yes.
They surgically implanted the little control center and the battery pack that then fed into wires that plugged into their backs, and then that would pulse them left or right, and so they'd turn left or right.
This is horrific, but imagine how steady your hands have to be to do surgery on a cockroach.
Yeah, so these cockroaches are underwater with a breathing apparatus strapped to them, inbuilt battery.
This
and
is not true, is it?
Yes,
This is cybug to the extreme. This is so cybug.
inbuilt battery.
Well, they just at the local pub say, what if we put it underwater?
Yeah, someone was sitting there being like, bugs still don't have ethics committees. Guys. Like, we're just not dreaming high enough.
Yeah, yes, genuinely, yes. And so 3 to 4 volt pulses of electrical stimulation for about 0.6 seconds at a time. And then, so that worked. They were moving around under the water. They were moving about 8 centimeters per second initially, and they continue moving about 5 centimeters per second after 3 hours, and they're giving the pulses. So they were still moving around pretty well under there. They think the only reason they would have slowed down is just because they got habituated to the shocks, the electrical shocks. They got used to it to an extent. And then they put them through a tunnel, 1.7 meter long tunnel that was partially submerged in parts, and then other parts had higher CO2 concentrations in the air as well. So they put them through a hard environment to navigate through, and they pulsed them through that tunnel pretty successfully. It's not like 100% success rates, but they were able to prove the concept works. And they also had them pass underwater through a very small 2 centimeter high passage, and they were able to successfully navigate them through that small crack there as well. And to your point, I'm sure there is a bit of this which is just this classic Jurassic Park of just seeing if they could, not if they should. And thank you for the subscription. Yeah. But there is a specific reason they're doing this, and that is these cyborg insects, these cybugs. Yeah. The big thing that they're proposed for use in is search and rescue operations, where you have a big pile of rubble, say, and there's nothing else that can get in there to check stuff out. Then you could if you can control an insect, even if it is a bit brutal, like inbuilt electrical stimulus to pulse it along, the insect then handles all of the power and locomotion needs. You don't need an energy intensive and flawed robot to walk around into that. You can use a refined system of what evolution has spent billions of years perfecting to run around. And if you can control its movements, some people have strapped cameras to them as well, and so you can actually interact, see what they're seeing, and move them around. And this gets over the issue of what if there's any significant amount of water involved in that. The existing systems don't work because it would just short circuit basically and not work. They'd have to avoid it, or they just lose the insects. So this means if there's a case of an actual flooded rubble, then they could potentially use them. And even if it's just rubble with bits of water through it, you need a system that's going to be able to survive going through water. So that's what this allows you to do. It allows you to take use the insect's power system of just glucose storage like we do and locomotion system and strap on some sort of human control to control their movements, and then allow them also to be able to deal with water through something like these suits, these little dive suits, which would mean that it's able to not have that barrier of not being able to deal with water. So potentially has a big use in the future, even though it is genuinely questionable, the ethics of doing this. It's pretty nasty to do this to the insects, but if it can create a significant jump in our ability to explore disaster zones filled with rubble, I mean, it's a pretty amazing thing to be able to do. Apparently some of these researchers were involved in an initial attempt to see how they worked in a disaster zone earlier this year. So I'm not sure how much that was used and how much actually went into it, but they're already trialing it. So I will follow this to see if it does actually lead anywhere, because it could be pretty amazing.
Did they have mini hyperbaric chambers on standby just in case? Or?
In case they got the bend.
They didn't, but they did talk a lot about having to, because they had to do control experiments through a lot of these tunnels without the dive suits to show how the cockroaches wouldn't be able to get through without them. So they did talk a lot about having to take them out and resuscitate them and bring them back, because when they go into the high carbon dioxide area, they don't get enough oxygen in their system, and so they just sort of get anaesthetized and just shut down. And so they had to extricate them and get oxygen back into the system and bring them up. And they did talk about how the tubes they connect can be taken off, the backpack can be taken off, and so they can live somewhat of a life.
Like a guide dog without its harness.
Like a guide dog without its harness. I'm not sure if the surgically implanted battery and control system can be taken off. But they do try a bit. They also, throughout all this research, I do note that they do write a fair bit about trying to minimize the impact where they can.
Rehabilitate.
But if you were working with them every day, you'd feel it.
At the end of the day, they are shocking them with electrical pulses to move them around. So it's weird. It's weird science. What did Jordan think of that, Max?
This is so good.
First sonar, do you remember what it stood for from the top of the show, Max and Izzy and Peter?
Sound.
Sorry.
Navigation and
ranging.
There you
Ranging.
go. Sound, navigation, and ranging.
Can we do scuba as well?
Self-contained underwater
Breathing apparatus. Yeah.
What? Really?
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Oh, I'm going to smash pub trivia now that I know that. Oh my God.
Do you know what tuna is?
Fish.
It's fish!
Thank God someone's working on this. I don't know what I'd do without it.
Fish are friends, not food.
Great start. Gabe, what does a cat say?
Yeah.
Max, what does a chicken say?
Cluck, cluck.
And Izzy, what does a shark say? Which is faster, shark or tuna?
Oh,
tuna.
surely depends on which tuna and which shark.
Yeah. Who's eating who?
Yeah.
Out of all the tunas and all the sharks,
Which has the fastest of them all?
Tuna. I'm going tuna.
Ooh, I'm going shark.
Okay.
Gabe, you are correct, but it's very close to the point where I think we may just need more recordings. An Atlantic bluefin tuna can get to 70 kilometres an hour, whereas the fastest shark is a mako, and it is 74 kilometres per hour.
Whipped him by 4 Ks.
Do either of you know what the fastest fish is? Just to know.
But isn't a shark a fish?
Well, yes. What is the
Mako
fastest
shark.
fish? Doesn't mean that they're the
74 kilometres
fastest.
per hour.
Oh, marlin.
It's actually a sailfish.
Oh, well,
Although again, disputed. But sailfish
group.
is 110 kilometres per hour. They could go on the highway. They'd get booked in New South Wales, which is crazy.
Because they use wind power. A bit like the Sail GP.
The pioneers of
They don't
renewable
use
energy.
wind power. I mean, if you want to think that, that's just not true. Max is just out here lying on the show so often.
Straight up lie.
One of the reasons that sharks and tunas can do this and go so fast is because they are warm. Now, they're not warm-blooded. Warm-blooded, scientifically, is known as an endotherm. That's what we are. Do you know what an endotherm, like what makes an endotherm?
Endo meaning internal, therm meaning
Produce
temperature.
heat.
Produces temperature internally. Whereas the cold-blooded being ectotherm would be outside therm, which means your temperature is regulated by things outside of your body.
Very specifically, endotherms and warm-blooded animals also maintain our body temperature. So we maintain a constant body temperature, usually warmer than the surrounding environment. And it's controlled by the hypothalamus in our brain, which maintains that narrow band. So if we go into hot areas, it tells us to cool it. We go to cool areas, tells us to go turn it up. That's why when you live in a cold area, you have to eat a lot more food because your metabolism has to keep up with keeping you warm. All of these different things. Same actually if you're in, like when you're outside of your thermal, like in neutral, your body has to do a lot of work to keep that there. Sharks and tunas are part of a very small group of fish called mesotherms. Now, Gabe, you've done the Latin for the other two.
Middle.
What's a mesotherm?
Meso means middle, doesn't it? So it would be a fence sitter between ectotherm and endotherm.
That's pretty much exactly it. It's a middle therm. It's sort of like, it's 0.1% of all fishes, because the rest of fishes are ectotherms. They are cold-blooded. They have a bunch of different things that make them able to do that. But 0.1% are mesothermic, so warmer, I guess, is a way of thinking of it. Fun fact.
Mesothermic, I guess it would mean sort of regulated both by internal
we'll get into
and
it.
external
No, we'll
management.
get into it. Not quite that, really. Echidnas are also mesotherms. So what is a mesotherm? Their base model is cold-blooded.
Okay.
But their muscles naturally heat their blood as they're moving around. So they've got lots of big muscles that do stuff. This does happen in all fish, that their muscles would heat their blood.
Happens in all cold-blooded animals still can produce heat internally. Like when you
Friction,
move
movement.
around, you get byproduct heat.
Yeah. But other fish would lose that heat in their gills. So when the blood goes to the gills, they lose the heat. But sharks have a counter-current system. So their warm blood from their muscles travels past cold blood from the gills before it gets there and heats it up. So essentially they keep their gills cold so that the rest of their body stays warm.
So they're doing a temperature swap before and after it gets to the to the gills.
So, and they do that by putting their blood vessels really close together so that the heat transfers before it gets there. And that simple trick keeps some body parts up to 14 degrees hotter than the surrounding water.
Wow.
So it's a very, very effective little trick. Now, not all mesothermic fishes do this. It's actually evolved 6 times separately in different fishes. So they all have different methodologies. Some of them only keep their brains warm. Some of them keeps their whole body warm. Different things. But the reason they're not an endotherm is because they don't have a fixed point. They can't control it. They just make heat. If they get too hot, they don't stop making heat.
Gotcha.
It's sort of like the difference between an electric oven and a wood stove. It's about the control. Can you stop making heat? Can you start making heat? Can you change how much heat you're making?
Like a panting dog or an elephant flapping its ears or a human pouring out sweat. Getting rid of heat.
Plus, also our bodies, so our hypothalamus can also just sort of slow down heat production. They can't do that.
Gotcha.
They just have this inbuilt system that they are producing heat at a certain rate no matter what. So mesothermic is great to be mesotherm in the ocean because you can swim faster, you can travel longer. It generally makes you a better hunter. It might even help eyesight. So you tend to see it in a lot of the top predators in the ocean, like sharks and tunas. But when you don't have control over this, you can also overheat, and especially because a lot of these fish are big. They're big fish.
So a shark can overheat?
A shark can easily overheat.
Really?
Yeah, which is surprising because if you've ever been in the water, if you've ever scuba dived, you'll know that one of the first things they tell you is that you are at risk of hypothermia because water saps heat so quickly that you have to manage it. So to me, it was really shocking to think about these sharks getting so hot that they couldn't get rid of heat fast enough. And the bigger you are, the more heat you can serve. This is a problem even for non-mesotherms. The really, really big fish have a problem with heat. So they also pointed this out, that there was a high extinction rate of fish like this the last time the climate was similar to this. So that was back in the Pliocene, and that was when they had time to adapt. So there's a bit of a worry about this. We assume all of this isn't great because of climate change, but up until a week or so, no one had really looked at how heat works in these species. How much heat are they actually making? How much effort does it take for them to make the heat? All of these questions. So researchers at the Trinity College in Dublin, QS ranking please.
300.
Dublin. No, surely 50.
75. Congratulations, Gabe. Trinity College Dublin, they wanted to figure out exactly how much heat these big fish were making and how it may affect them. So they used biologging data from these sensors that record body and water temperatures. You might remember from our story about the tuna that got eaten, that one had its body temperature, and it was very confused when it dropped very suddenly. That is the sort of biologger we're looking at. They looked at that, and then they also looked at hundreds of other lab measurements from smaller species. And after accounting for body size, so they were all the same size, mesotherms were using 3.8 times more energy.
Just in general?
In general, because that's how they made the heat, was by having a really high metabolism.
Like moving from ectotherm, cold-blooded fish, into mesotherm, middle-blooded, hot cold-blooded fish.
Lukewarm fish, yeah.
3.7 times more energy?
3.8 times more energy. So that's a 10-degree increase in body temperature doubled a fish's metabolic rate.
Possibly other stuff feeding in because they're more likely to be predators and
it'll all come together, but it does mean essentially that they have to eat a lot more. Essentially, if you did nothing else, changed nothing else about yourself, but you got 10 degrees warmer, you would need to eat way more food.
Not recommended in humans. You're sitting right below the temperature that you'd start cooking, so don't add 10 degrees to your internal body
this
temperature.
This is the interesting thing about mesotherms, right? Is they don't have a narrow band. Mostly, like echidnas can get 10 degrees warmer and 10 degrees cooler than their like median temperature. That's kind of fine for them. They're comfortable in all of that. Whereas for us, that would kill us. If the middle of our body changed by 10 degrees, we're dead.
If they measure your temperature and it says 40 on the reading, they go, oh, that's a heavy fever.
Yeah.
You're usually sitting at
if
36
said 49,
38?
you would be dead. They'd be like, well, that person is literally cooked. But then they brought body size back in, and they looked at the water temperatures where large fish are making more heat than they can lose. So when they're in the warm water, their body will continue making heat at the same rate because they don't have that hypothalamus telling them to cool it. I mean, literally. And they found that a 1-ton warm-bodied shark may struggle to remain in heat balance in waters above 17 degrees.
Really?
And that's not a crazy weight.
Yeah.
White sharks are known to get over this, and some female white sharks have been known to be 2 ton. So that's not unheard of. So female white sharks, theoretically, are unlikely to be in waters over 17 degrees. And they think that over those temperatures, they'd have to really change their behaviours to try and figure out how to work with this. So they'd have to really slow down, they'd have to change their blood flow, maybe dive to cooler depths. But all of those have follow-on effects, like it could hurt the hunting strategies that they developed their mesothermy for in the first place. Now, climate change will reduce the areas that these major predators can survive in, and they actually made maps of future climate scenarios and where they think these big fish would have to move from. And I can tell you that Australia has no mesothermic sharks in the summer. South Africa would also lose their iconic white shark species. So the whole middle of the globe is just whited out in the summer of where these animals could live. And even in the winter, there's a narrow band so that you basically wouldn't see them around the equator anymore, which is really, really worrying, because as anyone who knows about sharks and predators knows, you need top predators to balance an ecosystem. It's not something you can just get rid of and hope for the best. So these sorts of effects are things we're going to have to look at. And it's great that they've looked into exactly how heat works in these species, internally and externally now.
Cool. Tadeusz texted in, Max.
Yes.
About the insects underwater. In your face, Klaus Schwab, which I think he's the head of the World Economic Forum or something like it was. And there was some sort of internet conspiracy theory that he wanted everyone eating bugs. So today I just said, you wanted us to eat bugs. Here they are, scuba diving and rescuing people.
It's right.
And Owen asked, do insects get the bends? I'm assuming they would. It's just gas expansion, but they'd have to be breathing compressed
Don't they
air.
need blood? Because it's part of it being in your blood.
You'd still get oxygen in their system.
It's a
anyway.
nitrogen, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nitrogen is the big
They
issue,
still get
not oxygen.
pockets of nitrogen in their system. I'd imagine if an insect breathed compressed air at depth and then was raised up, it would have expanding gas.
Was
in
it compressed?
No,
They were creating it at
not.
depth.
It's not, and it's not that deep. So no, they didn't get the bends in this study, but I imagine they could theoretically get the bends.
You tune into 4ZZZ and the show with no idea with me, Max. We got Maximillian, we got Gabrielle, and we got this.
Single press overtake, stay in scenario 7.
If you push me off the track, I think you have to leave a space. All the time you have to leave a space.
Come on. Get it, girl. Get it. Woo! Yeah, you don't need to tell me that.
Max, we're in this together, mate. Head down. Come on.
Yes! Great job, guys. That was hard work. Oh, that was hard work.
F1 happened on the weekend. It was in Austria. It was pretty hot. It was at the Red Bull Ring, so clearly a home race for Red Bull. It was a traditional race weekend, which means we had a bit of free practice. And 1, 2, 3, basically Mercedes and McLaren were topping the timesheets until free practice 3 when Lewis in the Ferrari started to make some headway, which was quite good.
Ferrari with a new engine this weekend as well.
And better fuel. So, yeah, we expect them to be right at the tippy toe of the front, but they weren't.
The pointy end.
But Mercedes were there, and Oscar was there, of course, and McLaren brought their new rear wing, which they only added to Norris's car. And it didn't work because Norris had some hydraulic problems, so they had to deal with that and forgot
They said in some interviews that they had hydraulic problems and then they had to do some other tests on the wing which just didn't pass. They haven't really said what they were, so they just sent it back to the factory. Which they did want to run it, their flippy floppy wing, which turns upside down on the straights, but didn't pass the test apparently.
Then Saturday came along and qualification, and it was quite controversial. You want to walk us through why Mercedes George Russell probably should not have received pole position, Maximillian?
I think the framing there is important. I don't know if it's probably shouldn't have. I mean, he did receive pole in the end, and it was all okay. But at the sort of closing stages of Q3, Max Verstappen had a rare off coming into turn 10. Takes a bit too much curb, at a little too much speed, and goes off. And the marshal post immediately throws a yellow flag. Now, George Russell correctly clocks this as a single wave yellow, meaning that so long as he lifts off sufficiently, he's allowed to continue his lap, and it will count.
Whereas a double waved yellow would mean that you have to back off completely from that lap, right?
Correct. If you're like any sector, if you're before the sector there's a double wave yellow, your entire lap is gone anyway.
Yeah.
If you're past the sector with a double wave yellow, you're allowed to continue as well.
And that's meant to be a decision from the marshals who are sitting there on the side of the track, right? They just go, is it a single yellow incident or is it a double yellow incident based on how severe it is?
And the marshal post decided single wave yellow. The race director reserves the right to upgrade that, and that's what happened, to a double wave yellow. Unfortunately for Kimi Antonelli, he clocked it as a double wave yellow based on, like, I guess the severity of the off. However, the screen was clearly showing a single wave yellow. But in the heat of that moment, you're still thinking that, okay, well, really, I should be backing off. So it was a little bit controversial in that sense that, well, should it have been a double wave yellow? Yeah. But he kept pole position. Took it away from Charles Leclerc, actually, in P2. The interesting thing, though, with this Verstappen off is the last time a driver did something like this was also in car number 3 back in 2020. Daniel Ricciardo in the Renault had a very, very similar off, and it's sort of playing into this number 3 curse that's been floating around where Verstappen hasn't been having much luck in Formula 1 as of late, but also at his runs at the Nordschleife, he's been having a little bit of shaky luck in terms of that disqualification and the what was the suspension failure? So yeah, it hasn't been a great run for Verstappen and the number 3. So hopefully come Sunday he can turn this around.
And Aussie Oscar, his number's 81, and if you add that together, 8 and 1, that's 9, and that's divisible by 3 as well. So he might have the curse as well.
Or if you took 8 and then you put a minus sign and then 1, you get P7, which is what he qualified.
Well played. We got another subscriber. Okay. The race happened on the Sunday, and there were high hopes for Ferrari coming into the race following the momentum from winning recently in Spain. Sadly, the Ferraris decided to let Max Verstappen in the Red Bull chase down the Mercedes.
It's a bit of a weird strategy, wasn't it?
Wait, so here you go. Ferrari could only manage P5 and P8, and Max Verstappen ended up in a Mercedes sandwich on the podium, finishing second with George on the top step and Kimi Antonelli coming home in 3. Aussie Oscar did a good showing. He came home in 4th, and his teammate, Lando Norris, he managed only P7, which is where Oscar started, so a bit of imminent justice there. It was interesting to see that 5 manufacturers all brought home both of their cars in the points, and that was Mercedes. They finished 1 and 3. Red Bull finished 2 and 6. McLaren 4 and 7. Ferrari 5 and 8, and Red Bull, the Racing Bulls 9 and 10.
Yeah, as I understand, this is the first time Red Bull affiliated cars, all 4 of them, have actually come home in the top 10 at their home race, quote unquote.
And Cadillac just had a DNF, and Aston Martin had 1 DNF, and we won't talk about the rest, will we?
And Williams had a DNF.
Yeah, true. And it was Sainz again. Oh, well.
Oh, well. Bad luck for him at the Red Bull ring.
Women in motorsport coming up this weekend, F1 Academy. Well, once again.
About time. They're back, finally.
F1, they're joining.
It has been a minute.
It has been. Kyra Batic will feature in the F1 Academy as a wildcard. And they'll race she's Swiss, and they'll race under the official partner, Weller Professionals, and take the track in the number 6 car. And they'll have a bespoke livery, apparently, a Weller livery. So that should be good to see. And in a recent vote, looking at the 14 races across 7 rounds from last year's F1 Academy series, the number 1 voted race as the best race for the women was the Las Vegas race number 2, coming in at 29%. And this is when Chloe Chambers won the season finale in Las Vegas, securing a lights to flag victory. Behind her was Alicia Pomolsky, finished second, and Maya Wigg third. And Dorian Punn crossed the line in 5th place, which was enough to comfortably outscore Wigg and clinch the 2025 Drivers' Championship. Other popular races was the Zandvoort race, Singapore race.
That was great, that Zandvoort race.
The Montreal race and the Las Vegas race number 1. Any more to add about F1 for the moment? I know it's coming up this weekend. We could probably talk about that a bit later. MotoGP happened. The Dutch GP on the weekend saw a debut win for the Japanese rider Ai Ogura, riding an Aprilia for Team Trackhouse, with Spanish teammate Raul Fernandez second and Jorge Martin third, also riding a factory Aprilia. So all Aprilias on the podium. Aussie Jack Miller finished in the points, coming home in 12th. And here's the series I've been enjoying of late, NASCAR. Good news, former Supercars champion Shane Van Gisbergen is back to his winning ways. And it was at the Sonoma Raceway, which is sort of, you have to turn right and left. And
You think they'll be able to manage? Or?
He actually won 2 races that weekend. He went in the feeder series called the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. He won that race from pole, and then he had to start from P6 in the Cup race, but he managed to win that as well. So he is now up to 8 wins in the NASCAR on race courses. So he's equal second with the most races ever won by a NASCAR driver. He's only got to secure one more to be an all-time champion. So he'll probably get... I wonder if non-Americans are allowed to be in the Hall of Fame of NASCAR.
I don't see why not.
Okay. we got F1 this weekend at Silverstone. And I know McLaren's bringing a new livery. Well, a livery to show off their 1966 car.
It looks great.
I'm going to cough for a sec. Any more to add about the F1 go?
No, just we got Silverstone coming up.
We have.
It'll be great.
So
and
it's a sprint weekend.
Is it?
It is. And
yeah.
And it'll be great to see the F1 Academy running. We'll get Izzy to do a wrap-up of that next week because, they haven't run for months because they had they don't run many races in the year, but they also had interruptions from the conflict in the Middle East, which shut down a bunch of the races and hit 1 or 2 of theirs that were lined up. So they've not had much running at all this year. So it'll be good to see them and out on the Silverstone track, no less.
Cool.
That's all.
What did you think of that, Jordan?
It was really good.
Yeah, thanks for that. You're tuning to 4ZZZ and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We got Peta. What do you got for Skype?
Throughout this show, Max, you kicked off a bit that we run every single week now, many years ago, and it's the QS rankings. Remember we mentioned the sort of university that's leading us, a bit of research we talk about. We make each other guess the QS ranking.
Really, it's got an intense amount of airtime on this show
Really
that I actually think we might be the main people talking about QS rankings.
Well, it is the world's, probably fair to say, the world's most used university ranking system. The Time Higher Ed.
Globally, anyway.
Yeah, it also does it. There's a bunch of others. It's not the only one by any means. But the Quacquarelli Simons rankings is what the QS stands for, named after one of the founders. And it specializes and has been since the 90s in assessing and ranking universities. It actually started out as a service that was meant to help international students pick out study destinations overseas.
I feel like it still does.
Yeah.
It definitely still does. Definitely still has that built into its core metrics, and also to help universities be discovered by those international students. It makes money. It makes tens of millions of euros a year, I believe I read, in revenue. So, it's not like a small fish thing. It's a big deal. And for universities, it is huge in terms of how they're faring. And these rankings have, as we all know, turned into a massive deal for universities around the world. And so every year they release updated rankings in June. And that's happened, and we have the updated rankings with us.
Yeah, we do.
They're in the room. I want to start by just going all-out winners. I'm going to burst the bubble and say there's no Australian unis in the top 10.
No.
Unfortunately.
There's never been.
Never been. Yeah. There is in the top 20. And we have hit 14th, I think. Melbourne University a couple of years ago was 14th. Right. But the top 10, I'll just quickly run through them. We already went through the 10th one, National University, NUS.
Singapore.
National University Singapore.
Yep.
And the UCL, Unique College London, is ninth.
Yep.
ETH Zurich is in 8th. And actually UCL is equal 8th, I should say, with ETH. So they're both equal 8th. Yeah. Caltech, or the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena, is in 7th. They've jumped 3 spots up, making up for a bit of a slip. They've been at least 8th since 2015. And then in 2024, they slipped all the way down to 15th. So they've been climbing back up since then.
Yeah, that's right.
Uni Cambridge is in 6th. Harvard is in 5th. University of Oxford is in 4th.
Whoa.
Top 3. Do we know what they are?
University College London.
Imperial College.
Yes.
Imperial College London is always
And we
big.
know MIT is always the top one.
MIT and the third one.
And the second, the
They
third one.
snuck into the top 3 last year and
Yeah.
they've maintained it this year. It's
Really?
Stanford University.
Okay, American.
So Stanford's actually gone up from 3rd to equal 2nd with the Imperial College London, and MIT maintains its top dog status.
Yeah.
So that's the top 10 for you. Pretty similar, but movement in there as well. The scoring is made up of a whole bunch of different metrics that are weighted differently. The biggest one that makes up half of the score, they just give them like a point score out of 100 and then they rank those point scores. And that's why you get some that are equal rank because they've gotten the same point score. And that's why when they get into bigger numbers, like from 700 and beyond, they start going into ranges because they're like, our point scoring is not specific enough to give these rankings
the
beyond
granular,
like this 10, this 20, this lot of 100, whatever it might be. So half of the score is made up through research and discovery. So the academic reputation is a big one here, which it does get criticised for because it sort of creates the academic reputation through the scores. But
it also pushes researchers to output. There's a big thing in academia right now about trying to push back on this constant output of papers and moving back to long-term research. This is one of the things that's pushing.
Second thing that feeds into that half of the rating is citations per faculty. So it's academic reputation and citations, which is when your work gets referenced by other reputable work. And for academics, it is the controlling number in their life, and for people who aren't academics, they probably never really thought about it before. Then the remaining half of the score is broken up into 20% goes to employability of the overall score, goes to employability and outcomes. So employee reputation and employment outcomes. That includes things like doing surveys with graduates about
which is why you get so many emails.
Yeah, about if they've been employed. They're particularly looking at international students there and because that's what their base is and how their employment's been once they've returned back. Or left at least left the uni. 15% of the overall score goes to global engagement. So this is where the international student and international faculty come in. So you get scores for your international faculty ratio, so teaching staff ratio, who are international research network, and international students, including their diversity and their ratio. So there's points for having a cohort of international students and faculty in your university. And the learning experience makes up 10% of the score, which is driven by the ratio of students to faculty staff. And the sustainability makes up 5%. That was added recently in the last few years, and they've added a sustainability score in there as well for 5% of the total amount. So they top 10 because they do well across all of those, to be honest. That you can't get into the top 10 without doing well across all of those metrics. And the methodology is a lot of surveys, a lot of looking through citation records, and it's a lot of work that universities are involved in feeding back and reporting, and it's a lot. It's a lot of work and maintenance goes into these things. One of the big takeaways is that we've seen a big across beyond the top 10. There's been a big demise in what they call the Big Four, which is the US, the UK, Canada, and Australia. The Big Four refers to the Big Four international student destinations.
Yeah.
They make up and have made up for many years now the majority of international students. And they are sliding because, well, to be honest, there's been caps put in a lot of these countries. Australia's, I think all of the Big Four countries have some sort of policy in place to try and boost domestic students' enrollments and curb international student enrollments, which is probably, there's good and bad points on both sides, but it does lead to an impact on these rankings because they were built for international students, so they still have that built into the underlying methods. But also, we've seen a rise in other destinations. So there's other places moving up, becoming more of a destination for international students, like the Middle East and Hong Kong and all sorts of other places. So that has been driving some of that Big Four decline. We saw a 16% decline in international master's students, was one of the stats I saw them report. So we're seeing a drop in international student enrollments, at least in postgrad in Australia. For some of the other big results that I pulled out of it, though, I was just going through a whole bunch of stuff. I pulled out my headliners, my favorites. The biggest jump in the top chunk of universities was by the Chinese University of Hong Kong. It moved up 14 places to 18th now. So one above the top Australian university.
Yeah.
The biggest jump for anyone in the top 20 was that 14 places. And they've moved from 47th in 2024. So it shows that you can make big leaps in this list. It isn't just a stagnant thing that feeds back on itself. You can move. The biggest loser overall in terms of regions and how they're doing is actually Latin America. They've been slipping pretty consistently. They've fallen from 195 universities across the region to just 118 on the rankings. So that's a pretty big slip. And in 2024, 62% of Latin American universities lost positions. That was 60% losing positions last year. 2 years ago, 78% losing positions last year, and 84% losing positions this year. So the Latin American universities, South America and surrounds, slipping a lot on this for a lot of reasons, but they're the ones that seem to be dropping the most, the region that's slipping the most in the rankings. And moving up is, as you'd expect, China and surrounding countries and regions, the Middle East and India moving up through the rankings.
That makes sense.
Yeah, India's now the fastest growing G20 nation, and its representation in the rankings, so the number of unis it has moved from 14 to 52 over the last 10 years. So, obviously huge room to grow still, but it's happening. It's starting. They're seeing it popping into the rankings more. And in the newest editions of the rankings, IIT Delhi rose to 118th, which is equaling the highest university position that an Indian university has ever achieved in the QS rankings. Pretty amazing.
Cool.
So the Aussie results.
Yes.
The last thing I want to talk about.
University of New South Wales, let's hear it.
Yeah, pretty much. I've gone through and picked out the top 6. I picked out the top 6 Australian unis because the 6th one is the University of Queensland, which has moved up to 40th. It bounces around in this bracket of 38 to 42 pretty consistently throughout the last few years. So it's gone up to 40th in the rankings, maintaining its 6th in Australia ranking. Monash has maintained its 5th in Australia ranking, moving from 36th in the world to 31st in the world. ANU has maintained its 4th in Australia ranking, moving from 32nd in the world to 29th in the world.
Yeah.
The University of Sydney has maintained its 3rd in Australia ranking, but has dropped from 25th in the world to 28th in the world. And like you've been hinting at, Max, there has been a swap in the top 2.
Yeah. But it should be notable that University of Sydney was equal with the University of New South Wales last year, or last QS rankings of 2026.
I think two ago,
Yeah, 2 ago.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
2025.
They were equal.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, so University of New South Wales has jumped from 20th in the world to 19th in the world. In the process of doing that, has knocked the University of Melbourne off its 19th in the world
About
podium.
time.
And University of Melbourne has actually dropped from 19th to 22nd in the world.
Take that,
so we've had a
education
swap.
state.
And there was this beautiful moment the day before the rankings
You have to
came
get back
out.
to the Garden State.
The day before the rankings came out, UNSW painted this big thing on one of their entrances on the floor that said, "How does it feel walking into the blank university in the world?" And then on the day, they wrote in number
That's
one.
cool.
Oh, sorry, in Australia.
I was going to say
Australia.
number 1 would be crazy.
In Australia, not in the world. Which I thought was quite a good power move. Putting the blank in there the day before and then this painting on the number 1. Very classy move. And another just like, I did note our scores, so not the rankings, but the scores behind the rankings did drop across, I think, all of those universities, or all bar 1 or 2. So, 4 of the 6. 4 of the 6 had drops in their overall score.
Yeah.
1 was about the same. 1 went down, went up a little bit.
Yeah, which
so
is, university
rankings did
stuff.
well, but some of the point scores dropped. So it depends on how the universities around you do. You can drop scores and go up, or you can increase scores and go down, depending on what people around you are doing. So worth keeping an eye on what's happening to our scores and see if that changes. But honestly, it's another amazing result from Australian universities. We punch far above our weight in the education
A bit
sector.
like this show. You tuned into 4ZZZ and we just heard...
I knew I'd do that.
Oh, it's the golden egg of 4ZZZ.
Peter, you wanted to add to the QS story?
Yeah, I just was thinking, if anyone is using these legitimately to choose a university, I recommend waiting a little bit until they come out with the subject and faculty ratings. So you can look at how universities rank for what you want to do. Because when I was looking back in the day, that was legitimately a big deal because marine science isn't something that every university offers. So it's not always great to go to the best university in the country because they may not have what you want to do or they may not be great at what you want to do. I ended up going to UQ because at the time it was number one at marine science. Don't regret it. It was fantastic. Had a great time. But yeah, just have a look at what you want to do because it is different faculty by faculty and they do put those rankings up. So they're available on the internet. You can go and have a look at that.
Yeah, they'll put up, for that one, it'd be Earth and Marine Sciences, I think is their category, which they put out a bit later.
The year is 1998. And we would go down to the Story Ridge Hotel to watch this. Well, the Socceroos weren't playing, but we'd just go watch the World Cup on the big TVs or whatever they had.
You would.
Yes, right.
I wasn't alive.
And now it's happening and we're in there. We're playing and we got through. We beat Paraguay. And I was thinking, we didn't beat them, but we won the group stage. We came second. And Paraguay were third and they had to come up against Germany. I thought, you poor guys. But as it turns out... They beat Germany.
They're fine.
They're fine. So they're into the round of 16. So maybe we should have been up. We should have come third and gone up against Germany.
Against Germany?
Against Germany. Sure.
I'll take Egypt with a potentially injured Mo Salah over Germany any day.
So the winners so far in the round of 32 is Canada. They beat South Africa. Brazil beat Japan. As we know, Paraguay beat Germany. Morocco beat the Netherlands, the Dutch. So that was an upset. And Norway recently just beat the Ivory Coast and France this morning. What a great game that is. I think France is just going to win this whole tournament. They just
looking theirs to lose.
It was so effortless the way they were playing Sweden. They were just toying with them. Anyway, if you want to see Australia play, when are we playing? This Saturday? At
Saturday, 4 a.m., I believe it is.
Yeah.
At least that's when the broadcast starts.
3 a.m. is when the broadcast starts. 4 a.m. is kickoff.
Right.
Yeah. And then round of 16.
It's Wednesday, July 8th. If we make it
Let's
through.
not be presumptuous.
It's 2 a.m. I am. And then the quarterfinals, if we make that, that'll be on Sunday, July 12th at 11 a.m.
Lock these out. Save the date.
If we make the semi-finals.
Which, Max, you previously reported
1%.
The supercomputer predicted our chance was 1%, right? Yeah.
Then it's on a Thursday, July 16 at 5 a.m. And if somehow we get through the semi-finals with 0.3% chance of winning the final.
Yeah. Which would be on July 20th at 5 a.m. Max, I have some of my favourite stats I've pulled out from the World Cup this far. I feel like I'm allowed to talk about these on the Science Show. There's been some good, all-time leading stats. Leo Messi has topped the all-time goal scorers list in World Cups with 19 goals from 29 matches. But I hope he enjoys it up there because right behind him, like you've been saying, Max, is Kylian Mbappe, who is on 18 goals from 18 appearances already and has probably at least one more World Cup in him. So we'll probably see Mbappe top that list. They both have passed Klose from Germany, who was top at 16 goals before them. And we've also seen in just a pretty amazing stat that shows the comparison at World Cups between these the top three players. Maybe you'd put Haaland in there as a top four. But Cristiano Ronaldo has scored 0 goals in 8 knockout matches for Portugal. Messi for Argentina has scored 5 goals in 12 matches. And Mbappe has scored 9 goals in 9 matches. And Peter's going to rightly pull me up for it.
I think at the start of this you said, who's the top goal scorer of World Cups?
Yes. And what I forgot to say, Max, was men's World Cups, which I definitely should have said because they get blown out of the water when you start comparing to the best women players who've been there.
Specifically Marta, who is a Brazilian icon. If you watched the Women's World Cup last time, you'll recognise her. She always wears red lipstick when she plays, which is incredible. She has scored 17 goals in only 23 appearances.
Yeah, she's getting up there.
She's a goat. She's crazy.
And then, so my other favourite stats, first points for a lot of countries coming out of this World Cup because it's expanded to 48 teams like Curacao and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Erling Haaland would have been the first player in a long time to score twice on their debut, except Elijah Just from New Zealand stole that from him before he could play.
Yes!
And Ronaldo was the first to score in 6 World Cups, with Messi and Ronaldo both being the first to appear in 6 World Cups. So pretty amazing stats. But my favourite of all, Max, and what I've been building up to was what I thought would be the next octopus predictor for the World Cup. There's always like
It's always an animal predictor.
That takes up, and this was another animal predictor of a different kind because in the first match, Mexico versus South Africa, Mexico wins. Did you know Mexico has over 1,000 bird species, and South Africa only in the 800s bird species. The next match, South Korea, beats Czechia and 500 something bird species to 400 something bird species in those two countries.
That. Okay.
The next match, USA beats Paraguay. The US has more bird species than Paraguay. The next match, Scotland beats Haiti. Almost 3 times as many bird species in Scotland than known in Haiti. Then we beat Turkey. We have over 300 more known bird species than Turkey does. Germany smashes Curacao and also has nearly double the amount of bird species of Curacao. So here we are, we're on the train. Number of bird species in the country is coming through.
How many bird species does Egypt have?
Well, then it was, I think, less than us. Unfortunately, though, I have to report in Game 7, Ivory Coast beat Ecuador 1-0. And
Ecuador's got quite a bit of birds.
The birds' capital.
They got a couple birds.
Have about 1,700 bird species to Ivory Coast.
The outlier.
600 something species. So that rapidly disappeared from us, that predictor. But for a while there in the World Cup, we had the number of bird species as a potential predictor of who was going to win.
So if you want hypotheses like these, like Gabe just presented, and you want to keep it going, you go to our website at 4ZZZ.org.au/support. You can subscribe. If you're under 18, it's 25. If you're a pet, it's 25. Concession, 40. Full, 80. Passionate, 140. And super sub, $500. And then there's some other changes with the business subscription. What was that again?
Yeah, well, there's been some changes in the way the memberships will be processed. So if you're logging on and having a look at it, if you're going for anything above a concession for an individual subscription, it gets processed now as partially as a donation. So you're paying for a subscription fee and then sort of a donation with an optional amount. So it helps with tax time, which we're coming into now. If you are subscribing or have subscribed recently, it'll help with that sort of stuff as we go forward. So hopefully that's a nice way of kicking back a bit.
And the household one's been dropped. And
the household one's been dropped because, to be honest, there weren't many people doing it.
Nah.
So there's been a couple of changes to the things, but the main prices are the same. It's just a bit different in how it's processed now. You sort of have a core membership fee and then a donation on top.
Cool.
So check it out, 4ZZ.org.au/support. It's what keeps us running.
No idea. Space news. I'm calling this Puff Planet because imagine 2 planets that are the size of Jupiter but have a silky smooth density of shaving foam.
Sorry, silky smooth density?
Of shaving foam. Yeah. You could wipe your hand through it.
Oh.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Size of Jupiter. They've just been discovered and they're exoplanets and they're called TOI-791b and TOI-791c, and they're being classified as the puffiest planets ever found. The planets orbit a sun-like star named TOI-791 that is approximately 1,100 light years away from Earth. Further analysis found that the planets are locked in an orbital pattern that allows them to tug at each other gravitationally. As they orbit their host star, the planets alternate, pulling on each other, affecting the timing of their transits across the host star. And scientists use this variation in orbital timing to calculate the planets' masses, cementing their status as low-density super puffs. Pretty cool, eh?
I didn't think we were calling planets that anymore.
Now, it has been 50 years since Logan's Run, which is a classic sci-fi movie that was a favourite of the Gen Xers back in the day. It was released on June 23, 1976. And for those yet to witness this magnificent dystopian classic, have you guys seen it at all?
No.
Negative.
You might hear sound bites like this.
They say people used to breed animals, fish, anything. To eat, you know?
Must have been a savage world.
The movie is set in the year 2022-74, and the remnants of human civilization, so a bit of a spoiler alert here, the remnants of human civilization live in a sealed city beneath a cluster of domes, a utopia run by a computer. The citizens live a hedonistic lifestyle, maximising joy and minimising pain, but when they reach a certain age, they must enter the carousel, the gateway to renewal.
Welcome, humans. I am ready for you.
So that's the computer robot welcoming them to the carousel.
Okay.
Now, Logan's Run became the first film to use the new Dolby Stereo 70mm 6-track format, which added 2 more channels for the recording of low-frequency effects, or LFE. Unfortunately, early mixes of Logan Run's soundtrack underutilised this new subwoofer capability. However, there was one notable movie released not that long after that took...
Is this one that if we play the music from will get taken straight off air?
Is this owned by the mouse? Oh, no! It's the mouse! No! Fast breathing from upstairs.
Anyway, that's it for No Idea this week. Sign us out, Gabe.
That is all we have time for.
And we'll never be back because Max has played that.
This show was brought to you thanks to all of the subscribers to 4ZZZ. You can join them at 4ZZZ.org.au, which is also where you can listen back to the full recording of this show with all the music, as well as a bunch of our previous shows and maybe some future shows, but who knows if Max keeps pressing that play button. The condensed version without any music in it is on your podcasting platform of choice. Just search up No Idea 4ZZZ. That's No with a K, No Idea 4ZZZ, which is our handle on socials as well, No Idea 4ZZZ. Thanks to Toby for editing up that pod, and thanks to you, Max and Peter, for your stories this week. We'll be back in your ears next week. Between now and then, trust in the placebo effect. Don't think you're safe from cybugs if you hide underwater. Take a trip to TOI 791B if you run out of shaving foam, and if a shark tells you it's overheating, you should probably believe it.
We've been waiting to see, it's the end of the show. I wonder how Jordan felt about the whole show.
It was really good.
Thanks, Jordan.
Oh, thank God.
So glad to hear it.
That's so good. Man, I was worried.
Okay. We'll speak to you next week. Cheers.
I'm a goddamn marvel of modern science.
It was really good.